as the strongest of all in the game, referred to as the battle god. But as you know, all good things come to an end. Because he didn't accept the shady deals coming his way, his manager ended up terminating the contract. This left him broke, and with no account for the game. Thus he decided to make a new account and get his revenge. Episode 1. In this world, a game named Glory rules the world for more than 130 million active daily users. Standing atop them all is a man named Ye Shu, who is the best of the best at the game, making him a celebrity. Within Glory, 100 players attempt to take down a boss, but fail miserably, causing the ultimate Chad to emerge, with him swinging his spear valiantly and taking down the boss. That 100 players previously were unable to even scratch this is just one of his feats. With Ye being known as the battle god, he's the highest ranked player and top pro within the world. Outside of the game, we see a blonde babe running as fast as she can to hopefully encounter her lover. Meanwhile, back in his filthy gaming room, Ye is seen playing this game until the cutie emerges before him. This man is the battle god, the one who is stronger than any other, but today marks a sad day. With his companions claiming he is washed, Ye is forced to turn in his card with all of his progress. His team's manager informs him that they want to let the newcomer's son take over as captain. With him being new to the game but already one of the best, they inform Ye that he will no longer be needed to play for their team. Son apologizes but thanks him for warming the spot up for him over the years. With Ye bringing this team to its current glory, this is a total betrayal to Ye, abandoning him. Because he is being abandoned, Ye is forced to turn over his card to allow the newcomer's son not have to work for his progress. Before he hands over the card, Ye asks him if he enjoys playing it. He tells him that if he wants to be good, then he needs to love the game for more than just the influx of money coming in. As he leaves, the manager asks him to still be a sub for the team, but he refuses. He informs him that he will be quitting the team entirely, so they can just terminate the contract. The manager then informs him that it would break their contract, so he presents him a paper forcing him to announce his retirement. With this plan already being decided by the babe, Sue protests their decision, claiming Ye is still in his prime. He doesn't care about her claims, however, signing the paper without hesitation. With this, he is unable to play the game he loved competitively for the next year, making him unsure what to do. As he leaves, Sue stops him, asking why he planned on retiring and agreeing to their demands. He then explains it to the dumb girl, revealing the club no longer thinks he is worth their time. With Ye refusing any interviews and sponsor deals, he costs the company loads of money despite him winning them countless titles. He then informs her that he will rest for a year until the contract is over, then come back to regain his former title as the top player. He then walks away meticulously, while the manager wonders why he accepted their demands. He questions if he has some other kind of motive, but knows there is no way he can buy out the contract. He explains to Sun, the new captain, that he had tons of opportunities to gain money, but refused them all because he loved the game. Back in the days when Ye started his career, the players weren't getting anywhere near enough money as they are known. Meanwhile, Ye continues wandering through town aimlessly until he stumbles upon an internet cafe for a cheap price. He notices its glowing colors and decides to give it a shot to see what it's all about. Upon entering, he notices various people playing the game with a hot clerk as at the cashier. After handing her his ID, he leaves immediately, looking around the place. He notices how large it is, wondering if he will ever be able to find his spot. Eventually, he finds it and notices some dumb girl playing a trash character of his favorite game next to him. He decides to watch her play for a bit, hoping to give her some pointers as she plays. He soon realizes, however, she is a rage monster who is complete garbage at the game. With a 0-52 loss streak, he thinks it's impossible to help her. As she walks away, someone tells her that her account is still logged in with the man playing on it. When she gets back, Yi explains that she was in a game already, so he thought he'd help her out and win. With it only taking him 30 seconds to win the match, she wonders if he is a professional. She looks over and notices the famous club team across the street, making her think this man is Ye. She thinks that it's him, but upon investigating his ID that he forgot to get back from the clerk, he realizes it's a different Ye. He then asks her if she is the owner of the shop, noticing a sign recruiting people to work here. He tells her he needs a job, whipping out a cigarette in the process to look cool. She then tells him that she will give him a job as long as he beats her in a duel. With this being said, he tells her that his account is gone, so he can't play even if he wanted to. She then reveals that a new server for the game is soon to open, so now would be the perfect time to start a new account. Upon hearing this, he pulls out a glory card that allows one to create an account, so he does so. Now, with this new account, he asks the girl if she wants to play with him. She informs him that before she does, he needs to do some work as the new employee here, showing it's not very hard to get a job. Later that night, he ends up playing instead of working, showing he isn't a very reliable employee. Regardless, he still gets the job somehow and begins playing the new glory server the second it opens. With this being a huge event for people considering this is the 10 servers to ever open tons of people are seen playing. Ye, on the other hand, reads the guide on how to play, telling her that he forgot some of the controls. She tells him that he is a dummy, claiming he should look after the famous player Ye. Little does she know she is talking about him the entire time. Ye decides to tell her this, asking her to keep it a secret, but she plays dumb and says she is Sue, the blonde chick from before. With Ye knowing Sue in person, he knows she is lying, so he wishes she would believe him. He then creates his character, giving it an edgy name and claiming that Sue came up with it for him. Now with this new character, he spawns into the new world, surrounded by thousands of other players, making the spawn area super crowded. He starts by doing some low-level missions, but eventually gets past the tutorial to where he can explore the world as he pleases. He decides to go to an old shrine he stored a bunch of goods in, reclaiming some of his previously overpowered gear, with the main item being a large spear. He plans on using this to regain his powers and level up. After a full night of grinding out the game, he finally takes a break to wash himself up. When he gets back to his computer, he finds his boss sleeping on the job, so he throws his coat on her to hide her. He then logs back in and embarks on a quest to clear a new dungeon within the server. He informs the guy playing with him that he is a pro, so he should just let him do all the work. Although most of them are rookies, there is one guy who flexes his sword skills, acting like a boss. Then suddenly the hidden boss of the area appears, making them be the first ever ones to discover it. He knows this is a great chance to gain some glory on his new account, so he decides to let his teammates all die first in order to get all the loot. The newbies die quickly and only the boss is left, so Yi decides it's time to show off. He tells the boss that he will clear it himself as long as he gets 100% of the loot, informing him he will still get the first clearance title fighting alongside him. Episode 2. After saying this, Yi finally picks up his weapon and prepares to head into battle, knowing a small fry like this has no chance against him. He starts by slashing its insides, then hitting an upward skills, completely demolishing it. As he farms this monster, his boss wakes up to see him moving his hands like he is playing the piano. When she looks at his screen, she realizes that he was the first one to defeat the monster, gaining him a server-wide announcement as the first clear. Upon doing this, various rumors spread about him, calling him a terrible leader for leaving the noobs to die without gaining any loot. He then explains what happened to her to clear the confusion, but after doing so, she wonders why he isn't mad at all. He informs her that he is mad, but he has a good poker face, so she doesn't realize it. She then heads to bed, thanking him for the coat before leaving. Ye then gets back to gaming, hoping to be the first one to clear another boss. As he walks through town, tons of people gossip about him behind his back, making him wonder what their deal is. He then spots the previous guy who took the lead in battle, looking for another teammate, so he approaches him asking if he wants to team up. They ask him how he can be so shameless but know his talents are the real deal, so they accept him into the party. Following this, the group head back into the same forest only to realize that they aren't a match for Ye. With his ultimate power, he defeats the same monster yet again, this time faster than anyone before, making a new clear record. He then heads into a nearby cave to hopefully find yet another boss. Despite them entering this cave, they know the boss within is much higher than their own level, making them wonder if they have a chance against it. Then suddenly, while exploring, a group of spiders jump on them, but are taken out with quick work by Ye. In turn, this causes the rest of the spiders to wake up, but they also meet the same fate as the others, clearing the path to the boss room. He urges them to get ready, anticipating the boss to rush at them. As he expected, the boss then dashes out from a nearby corridor, but as usual, Ye takes it on himself, with him comboing the boss mid-air. Giving it no breathing room, they wonder just how fast he can spam combos. Eventually, the battle ends, and Ye ends up being the first to clear yet another boss, giving them the title as a first clearer. Meanwhile, in another cave, another party fights the same boss, but ends up falling 10 seconds short of getting the first clear reward. Now with 2 first kill titles under his name, the party glaze him for his skills. The self-proclaimed leader of the group claims he will catch up one day, but then suddenly, a hidden boss appears. The party think he can kill it with ease, but Ye informs them he needs to be the party leader who claims all the rewards he does so. They accept, so he walks into battle, preparing to fight yet another boss who outlevels him. As he fights it, eventually reveals itself as another large spider, this time with the power to kill them in a single hit. Despite this, Yi begins the fight by himself, attacking it savagely. He then informs the other members to help him in the battle, giving each of them their own tasks. Even though he asks for help, he still fights it by himself, taking down any of its incoming attacks. This causes the monster to summon its minions, forcing Ye to get on the defensive. Finally, he gives the others a task to do, attacking on his own as they follow his orders. He then prepares an ultimate skill, thus allowing him to move even quicker than before. Because of his attacks, he puts the boss in a temporary stall, allowing them to launch various attacks. After some time, they get yet another title for being the first clearers, this time of the hidden boss nobody else even knew about. Episode 3. Once this weird girl runs off, a new man emerges, introducing himself as Jade and the crown prince. He also introduces the stupid princess as Nephritis, the first princess of the Elven Kingdom. After this, he raises alert guards to take him away, telling the others he will be using him for the next few days. Immediately, Satu is locked into a prison cell where perfect for him. He tells Satu he is such a good girl in a weird way, making his attachment to her seem a little... He tells him that she has barely left the palace, and as a 54-year young to marry her just yet. He says in about 80 years she will be ready, knowing he plans on keeping Satu captive once. He tells his attendant that he cares not for the Ring King, explaining with their palace, there is no fear. 3 days pass since these events. Satu finally gets some interaction with others. A hot elf girl approaches him and pins him down, asking what his objective is as the Ring King. With Satu being thrown into this wing, what's going on, he tells her he lives his life for Heim. He says he only wants making the elf girl laugh. She tells him he is strange for one wife, asking him to follow her in the process. He is the one who keeps this country safe, explaining without his help, they will soon fall. She tells him that although safe, it also limits their interactions with the outside world, making it more of a cage. Him out of the secret lair where he finds a temple. In this temple is 2 steps, with one holding the ring in which he is supposed to have. He questions where she is at, died when the elf girl tells him to hide. Suddenly some blanket emerges and goes feeling herself as the elven princess. She tells the statue can't marry the Ring King despite her liking him for promise. Satu wonders why with the statue, but the elf girl explains that these are actually her parents' stuns him, so he makes a ruckus alerting the princess of his presence. When she sees him, she faints, causing Satu to catch her. With her in his hands, he decides to run away with her. As he leaves, the elf girl introduces herself as the elder of the kingdom. With this knowledge, he trusts her a bit more, guiding the elven princess to a large bed. The elder then leads him to have a good time and claim the ring rightfully. Now with a hot elf girl on a bed and the elder's permit, but knows it would be wrong. When the princess wakes up, she finds him looking over to make a move, thus making her freak out. Meanwhile, Jade, the prince, enraged. He thinks it must be the elder's doing, and shortly after she emerges, proving he is right. When the boss wakes up later that day, she notices he has yet again placed a blanket on her, so she decides to give him a bonus for his efforts. Later that evening, Ye wakes up in the middle of the night and is confronted by his boss. She asks him why he was sleeping through the whole shift, so he asks her to switch him to the night shift. As he talks to her, she suddenly rushes out, making him wonder if she has a boyfriend. Little does he know her reason for acting so sus is because she is meeting up with a longtime friend of hers. She then guides her friend into her internet cafe, hoping to introduce her to the others. She then shows her the game and informs her their new employee is insane at the game. To start, she begins playing on the boss's account and ends up demolishing everyone in her path. With fast keyboard movements and mouse techniques, she beats an enemy in only 2 minutes. After doing so, she asks to see the master she was talking about, hoping he is here. Ye sees all of this go down but decides to stay quiet until he overhears her saying the game is too easy. The boss then informs her that her friend is here right now and won a duel in only 40 seconds. With this being said, she decides to propose a duel to her, hoping to get a real challenge. Although he is reluctant at first, he begins playing, betting a pack of smokes. She hands some real cash, so he enters the game quickly while being embarrassed. They then enter the arena and he starts by rushing her, knowing keeping distance against a gunner is a bad move. As the battle goes on, he begins smoking her in every aspect of the game, stunning the crowd. By transforming his weapon between a spear and gun, he is able to push her back. While he plays, various people notice his skills and realize he is the famous player who is getting first clear rewards in the new server. Just as the girl thinks she has Ye beat, he whips out a new technique, forcing her into a corner. With nowhere to run, she questions what to do. But before she can react, he ends the duel. After beating her, he begins roasting how trash she is, claiming it'll take her 100 years before she has a chance against him. With this, he tries to take the cash, but she demands another battle, betting more money. He tries to reject her request, but after seeing how desperate she is to win, he is forced to accept. This cycle continues with her robbing her for everything, until she is completely out of money. With her life savings being bet on this match, she breaks down into tears, wishing she could have won. Ye doesn't seem to care, however, taking all the money and flapping it around in her face. He then gives her some advice, causing the various people behind them to ridicule Ye's guidance. As he walks away, Ye tells her that within Glory, one's keyboard speed isn't the only thing that matters, claiming there is more to it than that. Episode 4. The next day, as usual, nobody seems to be doing work, rather buying tons of McDonald's. Ye's boss, Chen, offers him some as well, but he requests her request, claiming it's not good for him. Tang, the girl who lost tons of money to Ye, on the other hand, also decides to start working here, realizing she can just play games all day and get paid. In order to work here, however, she needs to start an account, her not having a Glory account just yet. Meanwhile, Ye is seen playing the game as usual, but this time attracting tons of onlookers. They wonder how he got such powerful skills, and where he gained his skills, him still being a bit of a mystery. Tang then reveals that she intends on playing the same class as Ye, saying she wants to be like the famous player Ye who recently retired. As they talk, Ye approaches and asks Tang if she wants some help, but Chen brushes her off. Because of her remarks, he claims that she is trash at the game, so it'd be better to learn from him. He then informs her that he will make a guide for her to study, claiming the previous one he made is outdated. That night, he spends all day creating a new guide for Tang, hoping she will one day be able to join her team. Upon finishing the guide, he presents it to Chen, who still hasn't realized he is the real Ye. Ye then heads outside to smoke, but soon rushes back inside after hearing some random talk about a new boss that has spawned. They think it will be impossible to defeat considering how high level it is and its various skills. As this happens, the Blue Guild is seen camping out this very boss, hoping to steal the kill. Before they rush out to take it, they notice another big guild doing the same thing, forcing them to reveal themselves. Because they both planned on stealing the kill, they decide to work together, thinking it will increase their chances. After proposing this alliance, the Herb Guild members, aka the other guild, protest his decision, reminding him of the time they stole one of their kills. As they talk, the people currently fighting the boss get thrown back like some fools. One of the players, however, isn't like the rest, dealing with the boss by using his advanced techniques. While he fights, he eventually decides to slap the boss in the face, angering it more. This forces him to run away in a panic, making the others realize he is just another newbie. As they talk about how bad he is, the man starts to guide the boss in their direction. He then gets knocked to the ground, but suddenly a hero emerges to save the day. With Ye now facing off against the boss, the Blue Guild realizes who is here, but it's too late. Ye tells the man to add him to his party, hoping to help him get credit for the boss's kill. The others, who stand idly on the side, wonder if Ye will truly take it out, thinking it would be impossible with such a small party. The Herb Guild members, who still haven't seen his skills just yet, think that they will be able to steal the kill at the end, knowing there is no way for them to win. Mid-battle, Ye decides to give the other guy some guidance, showing him how to properly use his skills. Upon doing so, they are able to stun the boss more easily and knock him to the ground, letting Ye get a combo off on it. With their combined skills, the boss begins to get destroyed, causing the Herb Guild to realize how wrong they were about his skills. The Blue Guild, on the other hand, decides to watch from the sidelines, knowing Ye will kill the boss by himself along with them if they interrupt it. Upon realizing they will get third parties, the two guilds offer to let Ye in their guild, with hopes of getting them by their side. Ye ignores them, however, thus forcing the two guilds to rush forward, regardless of the losses they may encounter. When Ye sees the two main guilds running in to steal the kill, he informs them all to run away and let things play out. While they do, he begins comboing the boss, until it eventually enters a new phase, going berserk in the process. This causes it to summon tons of minions to fight alongside it, making the two big guilds realize they were fooled. They try to run away as well, but it's already too late. Because of this, they engage in battle with the monsters, risking not only their lives, but their standing as guilds to take out the monsters. As this occurs, Ye baits the boss in a different location from the main group of monsters. He decides to invite some randoms along with them, to help, thus giving them a better chance at victory. With the boss in an unknown location, they are able to fight it uninterrupted, with the other guilds having no clue what happened. By the time they defeat the minions, Ye has already defeated the boss, granting him the first kill reward. With yet another first kill under his belt, tons of people within the cafe start talking about him. Meanwhile, Ye is at the front desk playing the game, closing it out right before his boss approaches him. The Blue Guild member, on the contrary, decides to chat with Ye, asking him why he betrayed him. He claims that he was there first, so he should have teamed with him, but Ye has other plans. He reminds him that they aren't associated with them, so he asks him to buzz off. The Blue Guild member then asks to team with him for one of the previous quests, but Ye denies his request, revealing he has prior arrangements. Episode 5. Within one of Glory's top club's HQ, we see various players getting ready for an upcoming match. They talk about their captain behind their back, hoping he will get picked as one of the main sponsors for an event. The captain, Han, tells his underlings to go to sleep, hoping to get some alone time. After they run off in a hurry, one of his opponents informs him that there is a new player making a ruckus within the lands. They suspect that it may be Yi, but are unsure with him having an entirely new account. Meanwhile, Yi eats his McDonald's while at work, doing no actual work while he plays. He ignores anyone who tries to get a computer and just lets them in free of charge. Eventually, he decides to battle a dungeon, but he doesn't have enough members, so he asks Tang to join him. His boy tells him that he also has a member, so if they include Chen as well, they will have a total of 5 members. He tells this to his friend without getting his boss's permission first until she notices. She comes and asks who he plans on inviting to the dungeon that is a launcher like herself, still not knowing he plans on inviting her. Instead, he tells her to get online during a certain time. When the time finally comes, he finds her sitting around watching the new lead of his previous guild play on his account. With him taking on a 3v1, he wonders if he really is good to be the new captain of the club. By utilizing his account and sword skills, Sun is easily able to overpower 3 opponents, despite them also being pros. Just as the match seems decided, Ye says they will lose despite him clearly being in the lead. Then the match ends, and as expected, Sun wins, proving Ye wrong, making Chen wonder if he is drunk. He explains that although he is performing well overall, they are losing, informing her there is no way he can win 3v1s over and over again. He tells her that Glory isn't a single-player game, walking away before the next event starts. When it does begin, people begin cheering for Sun, thinking he will take everyone down with ease again. Surprisingly, however, he ends up getting stopped by the other captain, who proves to be a match for him. As the two of them duel, Sue enters the battle to help him, making her the only player working with the team. As the battle goes on, Sue begins to get overpowered, and the other members of her clan soon follow suit. Ultimately, Sue gets taken out because of the lack of teamwork, forcing Sun's clan to be on the defensive. Now with him being cornered yet again, everything seems to be going bad for him. But suddenly the power cuts off. This causes a ruckus, so Chen looks around for the power cable, eventually getting the stuff back on. In the end, Sun's team ended up losing, proving Ye was correct about it being a team game. That night, while he works at the cafe, a pro player walks around drunk until he stumbles upon their internet cafe. When he enters, he doesn't notice Ye at first, however his companion instantly does. He decides to let his companion do the talking, him spitting some game on Tang. He asks her if she knows who he is, not realizing the man next to her is Ye. Once he notices, he realizes who is before him, asking Ye how he is doing. Ye tells him he is able to play games all day while eating free food, so he is doing fine. Tang asks him if he is friends with him, so the man begins talking. He claims to be Ye's subordinate, but this only angers him. Ye glares at the man, making him remember the times when Ye would yell at him for messing up. Ye then stands up and tells him that if he wants to be scolded, then he should just ask him for it. The man then protests this, claiming that he is the vice captain of the team, so he has no right to scold him any longer. As they argue, Ye eventually decides to start smoking in the building, despite it not being allowed to prove he is a savage. He tells him that he needs to work on his teamwork, claiming they will continue to lose every event unless he tries harder. Ye tells the man that he should go by his advice, which he follows by pointing at a sign saying, "No drunks allowed." This angers him, so he kicks a trash can over and runs off in a hurry, leaving Tang to ask what that was about. He tells her they were just some flies, so she has nothing to worry about, informing her he will deal with his own problems. They then get into the game where Ye introduces his various party members, who plan on fighting alongside them. As they make up their party, the newbie from before who slapped the boss emerges, making the others question what he is up to. Tang tells them that she is also a newbie, making the leader of the party pull Yi to the side to question him. He acts like Yi doesn't carry him every time anyways, until he informs him that another member is here. Walking in from a distance is a hot girl who happens to be a launcher. She says hello to Ye, showing they are old friends who probably played together long ago. While they flirt, the guildmaster from the Blue Guild thinks that despite them being newbies, they must have some trick up their sleeves. When they head into battle, his suspicion is proved to be true, witnessing Ye and his party demolish every enemy in their path. As they fight, Ye gives everyone commands, defeating the monsters before them with ease. Eventually, as they fight, Ye's members start to get lower HP, forcing Ye to step in as the lead. He takes over the fight and starts commanding the Blue Guild members as well, making everyone in sync. With even the launcher proving to be useful, they wonder who she truly is, not realizing it's the famous pro Sue. Meanwhile, Sue is seen in her sweaty room, grinding out the kills to hopefully impress Ye. Episode 6. By using the delivery gun technique, the onlookers realize after the fight that the one before them is in fact Sue. With Ye being the only person close to her, they realize just who Lord Grimm truly is. Then suddenly, Sue makes a mistake, making him think that she isn't the real Sue, but rather an imitator. Once they finish this fight, they end up breaking the clear record and gaining more levels. Later that week, Ye spends his days playing the game and helping Tang level up while improve her skills. Sue would continue to play with them throughout the week, also growing her account in the new server. Now with lots of time in the game, Ye is able to increase his gear and head out to set hopefully another new record. Like he expected, he clears it in only 13 minutes, which happens to be 7 minutes faster than his previous time. Sun, on the other hand, is angry for letting Ye still outshine him despite retiring. With him clearing every new record in the game, he thinks that Ye is begging him to come to the new server. Then suddenly, the record they set gets broken yet again by another guild, making people think there is an ongoing war between the groups. Meanwhile, the vice captain of the group looks down on the internet cafe until he comes up with a plan. He messages Ye on a fresh account and asks him to carry him in a game, but Ye denies his request. He forces the man to act like a fan of Ye, eventually asking him for a duel. Instead of dueling him directly, Ye sends him to fight against one of his friends. He soon realizes that the person he sent him to duel is a noob who doesn't even know the different types of duels. He ends up losing in the duel against the noob, claiming it's only because he is on a fresh account. After this happens, he decides to invite him to a dungeon alongside him, hoping to find out who he is. As this man plays with them, he talks trash about his old guild, claiming they are too trash to clear the record set by himself. Meanwhile, the noob who throws sand rushes over to the pro player and tells him he will give him some tips. The pro, Hao, ends up playing with him all night until he realizes that he has a pro match that night. With him not practicing for it at all, he gets smoked by his opponent, forcing his club to lose yet another match. After losing, Hao gets frustrated, so he decides to log into his normal account and take on the dungeon alongside his guild. With him beating the record later that night, using Ye's plan, he gets a feeling of confidence, so he decides to message Ye on his noob account. He asks him how their record could be broken, to which Ye informs him that it's because of him. He tells Hao that he didn't try his best, making Hao think if he knows his true identity. Ye then reveals that he knows who he is, calling out by name in the private chat. After he exposes him, he closes the browser and moves on to playing the game himself. As he does, some sketchy-looking man peeks through the door, but he ends up running away when Tang spots him. Once she is gone, he re-enters, this time being welcomed inside by Ye. He guides him to come sit down, but the man is hesitant to go inside, hoping to hide his identity. Eventually, he goes into the cafe and finds Ye guiding him to a computer. He asks him if he is alone, to which the man tells him he is. As he talks, he ends up revealing his face, telling Ye he can't show himself because he has lots of fans. After some time, they arrive at a computer space in the corner of the cafe, where Ye decides to completely neglect his duties of working the front desk. Once they sit down, the man points to a poster behind him, revealing he is a top pro player. He starts yapping to him, asking why he quit and such, but Ye stops him. He tells him he will only help him if he helps him out with a raid on a dungeon. He thinks this is some joke, but Ye tells him he is serious about clearing this record. He tells him that he has an hour to prepare himself, informing him he has a new strategy to beat the previously impossible record. They then enter the dungeon, and Ye introduces Xiao to the others. At first, he says his pro player name, but he stops him, asking him to hide his identity. Ye then begins explaining the new strategy to them, showing some moves to take down the monsters. Upon doing so, he shakes the ground, thus summoning a ton of monsters before them. He then uses his ninja techniques to disappear from their sight, taking them down with ease. By displaying various class skills, Xiao wonders what type he is, seeing 3 different class skills already. He doesn't stop here, however. Rather, Ye continues to use other class moves to impress the others. To finish everything off, He does his trademarked spear spin move to trap the monsters within a cave. He informs them that by trapping a monster in a cave, he can kill it much more easily, showing he plans on doing the same with the boss. With this being said, they begin the raid until the boss finally emerges before them. He decides to execute the same technique, trapping the boss into the cave, thus allowing them to easily defeat it.